Good morning, this is Sandy coming to you from Gardner. I am going to be demonstrating one of our recipes from our grilling kit, week 1. This is the booklet that would have come with your kit. And the recipe that I'll be doing this morning is pimento cheeseburgers. Don't those look good? So the recipe calls for 1.5 pounds of lean ground beef, but as you know, you can substitute any protein for whatever the recipe is. Whatever your family likes is the way to go. Usually I use turkey or chicken, but this time I decided to follow the recipe as it was, and there was a sale on some ground beef, so ground beef it is. So I've already put 1.5 pounds on my bowl. This recipe also uses pimento cheese ball. And the first instruction on the recipe is to actually mix this up so you can get it in the refrigerator for 2 hours. So it uses 8 ounces of whipped cream cheese, which I already have in my bowl. And it uses 1 packet out of our box that has 2. So you have another one to do another recipe later. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed up so that it can go in the refrigerator. It has to chill for 2 hours. And yes, I have gloves on in preparation because I do not like to touch raw meat, raw ground meat, actually. I don't like the way it feels in my hands. It's always a pain to clean off too. So if anybody knows any secrets about an easy way to get ground beef off of your hands, let me know. Maybe I can ditch the gloves. So the pimento is orange. It's an orange cheese. And just a little tidbit for you if you haven't tried it yet. I don't like olives. And I always affiliate pimentos with olives, and I stay away from them. This is really yummy. Really, really yummy. So in my head I was like, it's olives. I'm not going to like it. And I was a little leery about trying it. It was very, very good. And I apologize for my birds in the background because they just, they want to be in the spotlight too. Actually, the louder I get, the louder they get. So I'll try not to talk so loud. So I'm just mixing this really well, getting it all incorporated. This probably was an easier way to do it, but I chose to use a fork. I mean, with it being whipped, it does mix very easily. I have neuropathy in my hands, so doing simple things like this sometimes is a challenge for me. It takes a little bit longer, but I'll get it. So it looks like this. See if I can show you. See that? Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just set the bowl aside, and I will get this put into a little Tupperware container and put it in the refrigerator so it can chill for 2 hours. This recipe comes with freezer meal instructions, but I am going to be cooking these for lunch later, so I will not be freezing them. However, will be making the patties up, and I will be putting them in a storage bag for now. But what I would normally have done, I would be using a freezer bag, and as you can see, I've labeled it. I'm not sure if it's backwards for you or not. And I have a coding system, and G is for grill, so that tells me or tells my husband, whichever's cooking that night, how we're going to cook what's in this bag. So, on to the ground beef. The recipe calls for 1 teaspoon each of onion. And I'm going to shake this up really well. And I'm going to use my measuring spoon. Looks about right. Another thing I actually should mention is this is a little bit more than 1.5 pounds of ground meat. It's actually a little over 2. So I'm going to put a little bit more seasoning than what the recipe calls for, just to make sure all of it gets incorporated and everything tastes the same. So it's a teaspoon of onion. It's a teaspoon of garlic. Again, I'm going to put a little bit more than a teaspoon. Actually, I'll put a heaping teaspoon. That looks good. And the third ingredient is seasoned salt. Now, I have high blood pressure, and my husband and I like to watch our sodium intake. So I'm going to tell you what I do. seasoned pepper. If you haven't tried it yet, you've got to. If you like pepper, that is. To me, it tastes just like seasoned salt, only it's not as salty. So I like this. So that's what I'm going to use instead. It calls for a teaspoon. Because there's pepper in it, I'm actually going to go lighter than that. I'm going to do a little bit less than that. I probably have about between a half and 3/4 of a teaspoon that I'm putting in here. So that's just a little note for you if you like our seasoned salt, or if you have a friend or family members that are on a low sodium diet, that's a good alternative for them to use, is the seasoned pepper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hands to mix this in. It's supposed to make 6 burgers. So normally I would be a little concerned that I might not get exactly 6, because you know how that goes. If it tells you you're going to get a dozen cookies when you make that dough, and at the end you end up too short because you made some too big. But with this, because I have the extra ground beef, I'm not concerned. I know I'm going to have more than 6 patties, or I can have 6 generously large burgers. I might do that. Another thing that my husband and I do, because we try to watch our carbs as well, is we like to have our burgers on portobello mushrooms. If you haven't tried that, that's something to try. Because if you like mushrooms, I'm telling you, this is a good substitute for meat, actually. I always marinate mine. It can be in anything. It can be in some Italian dressing. I'll use soy sauce. I'll use honey teriyaki sauce. Things like that. And I just marinate them for the day. And then I grill them. Or I've been known to put them in my air fryer and just kind of grill them up that way. And that's what we have our burger on. Our son, however, likes the bread. The more bread, the better. So his burgers are always on bread. So I have it all mixed in. Lift it up to show you. And now I'm going to form my patties. I'm not going to form all 6 because I know you know how to make a hamburger patty. And I'm not going to bore you with that. So I'm going to make it about like, that looks good to me. And what I'm going to do, what I would do if I were freezing it, is I would be putting it on some wax paper. Now I'm going to take my gloves off because I'm going to touch some press and seal. Press and seal is great if you make meatballs ahead of time. You want to put them in the freezer. You can separate them if they're not cooked. So you maybe just mix them up and then you're going to freeze them and cook them on cooking day. This would be good for that. This is good for burgers too. So I'm just going to rip off a piece. And I'm going to put my burger on this. It's sticking to each other, which is good. Yuck. So what I would do is I'm going to put 2 on a sheet, and then I'm going to fold it over, and I'll be putting them like that into my Ziploc bag. And my Ziploc bag is just going to go in the fridge because, like I said, we're going to have it for lunch. So you fire up your grill or cook them inside if the weather doesn't permit you cooking on the grill. And then when it's time to eat, you're going to put a generous dollop of this pimento cheese on top of your burger, and you're going to dig right in. So I hope you try this. I hope you like it. Please, we love feedback. So as you try these recipes with your family, we'd love it if you'd share pictures and share comments that that you get from cooking the recipe. We'd like to know how everybody likes it. And stay tuned for another recipe as well as a couple of commercials. And we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Thank you.